Hello, 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 all my beautiful planty people. My name is Darlena, aka Chula. Welcome to my channel, Hooked on Houseplants. I am so glad that you could be here with me today, and I hope your day so far is going wonderful. And if not, for whatever reason, I hope it gets better, especially after you watch this video. So today, we will be viewing my highly requested Alocasia collection. I'm just kidding. It's not really highly requested. Actually, it wasn't requested at all. I just wanted to say that to make myself feel good. But anyway, we'll be looking at my Alocasia collection. And at first, I have to admit, I was kind of reluctant to show you all my collection because it is small, and the majority of the plants that I have, they are starter plants. And so I made the mistake that many of us make of comparing my collection to others, thinking, well, mine isn't as nice as this person's, but we don't want to do that. We have to remember that this is a hobby. It's supposed to be something that we enjoy. It's not a competition. So we should just try to look at it like that and be proud of our collections, no matter how big or how small. Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to mimic the natural environments of these plants. And so sometimes they do well and sometimes they don't. But we want to keep it fun and just, be encouraging and supportive of one another. Okay, so I'm done with my sermon. So, in between plants, I would like to share some fun facts about alocasia. And while I'm sharing these facts, if it looks like I'm looking down at notes, it's because I am, because I cannot remember everything. But I think it's nice to share some interesting facts about our plants. So the first plant that I would like to show you is the mm, Suhirmaniana. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This is, of course, a starter plant. And many of these starter plants that you see, I either got them from BWH or Bros with Hoes or The Great Escape, which is an Etsy seller. And I just added this one to my collection. I think I got it about a week ago. So this is a newer plant for me. And with these smaller ones, I'm going to insert pictures of how they look when they're more mature so you can see why I ordered them. Because many of them, as mature plants, are absolutely gorgeous. So since it's been with me, it's already given me this new leaf. And all of the alocasia that you see today, they are in fluvostratum, which I'll talk about that later, but just know that all of my alocasia right now are in stratum. Okay. So as many of you know, alocasia, they can come in all sizes. There's the small ones like the bambino, and then there's the really big ones that a lot of times you see outdoors. And that's why alocasia are sometimes called elephant ears because they can get really, really huge, especially the outdoor specimens. Um, they have um, adapted to thrive in the dense shade of the rainforest floor. And so this is something I thought is interesting. They're large leaves. They're like natural umbrellas. And so they collect the moisture and the water that comes down and kind of funnel it down to their roots. So I thought that that was a fun fact about alocasia. So next up is my Ivory Coast. And this is what the leaf looks like. And I like the shape of the leaf. I think that that is really cute. And it has some little shoots right here. Isn't that cute? And just so you know, that little sound that you hear, the hummingbird, they have a very distinct chirping noise that they make. So you'll hear that quite frequently in the background. I have hummingbird feeders, and so they're always flying around behind me. So that little chirping sound that you hear, those are hummingbirds. And I just love them. I think they're just the cutest little birds. But anyway, I digress. So the next one is a sinuata or quilted dreams. And you can kind of see why it's called quilted dreams because it has that like, I guess like quilted like texture. I know this isn't the best comparison, but if y'all ever get quilted Charmin or quilted toilet paper, it kind of has that like look to it, that quilted look. Okay. So alocasia, they are native to the tropical rainforest of Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands, as well as Australia. And they are part of the Araceae family, so they are aroids. And most alocasia, they have adapted to the tropical conditions of their natural habitats, and so they require similar conditions to flourish. So since they are native to humid regions, they appreciate a higher humidity level. I repeat, they appreciate a higher humidity level. Now, as we all know, some alocasia, they'll do okay in regular room conditions. They may do okay, but they may not necessarily thrive the way that we want them to. So to each his own, but play around if you want. When you wake up and you see a spider mite party all over your plant, I mean, I hope that that doesn't happen, but I'm just saying that they like higher humidity levels. So if you have room in your bathroom, or if you have a humidifier, or if there's any way that you can increase the humidity, your alocasia will thank you for it. Trust me. Okay, so the next one up is the silver dragon. And I'm not for sure really what's going on with this plant. I hope it makes it. Um, it came with 3 leaves and it's already lost a leaf, and this one is on its way out. But it did just give me this new leaf. And then this leaf looks good. This is the pattern that we're used to seeing. So I hope it does okay. I do see a little bit of roots in there. So yeah, this is a silver dragon. I can't wait 6 months from now to look back at these plants and just see how much they have grown and thrived. I just cannot wait because I have seen larger varieties of these plants, and to me, they're just beautiful. The silver dragon. Okay. Then next, we have the Heterophylla or dragon's breath, which to me is such a stunning alocasia. I just think that this plant is just all of that. And I love how the leaves look once they're mature. They just are just so, they just make a statement. They really do. And you can see those roots popping off. Okay. So, one thing that I've heard several of you comment on in your videos is how sometimes during the winter months your alocasia goes dormant. Um, and that is true. They can go dormant during cooler months. And sometimes they'll drop their leaves or they may not do anything. So, this is a natural response to lower light levels and can be seen as the plant trying to conserve energy. And sometimes it may look like the alocasia is dead because it may drop all of its leaves. But just remember that underneath the surface it grows from something called a rhizome. Excuse me. And so underneath that soil, once the conditions get back to what the plant is used to, for some of us that may not be until early spring before they start to grow again. Um, but in some cases, they may really be dead. They may not just look like they're dead. They may really be dead. Like in the case of my Alocasia Jacqueline. I'm going to ask for a moment of silence. Y'all, I had an Alocasia Jacqueline, and it just went like that. I had it like 2 weeks, and it just, I do not know what happened with that plant. It was like it just literally like melted. Like, it just died on me. But hey, I tried. But anyway, um, last winter, the only alocasia that I had was the black velvet. And it did not go dormant. It actually continued to grow for me. And which that goes back to, everyone's conditions are different. Um, I guess if you keep your plants indoors, or like in my case, since the majority of my collection is out on my patio, my husband, he so kindly winterizes the patio for me. And so it actually turns the patio kind of like into a greenhouse during the winter time. It stays warm. I do have heaters out here to keep the plants warm, so they still get enough light, and so they continue to grow even during the winter time. So this one has never gone dormant for me, but I have had problems with this plant. This is the black velvet, and I mistakenly called this plant during my plant tour a black ninja because I got confused. Because there is a black velvet and there's a black ninja. which I didn't even know that there was a difference. I didn't even know that they were two different plants, but they are. So what I have is the black velvet. Now the black ninja looks very similar, but it has darker leaves, and the leaves tend to size up a little bit more than the black velvet. And the black velvet, even though the leaves are dark, they have like a greenish hue to them, as you can see. Now, this plant right here, for a long time, it didn't give me any problems. I had it in a chunky mix, and I had it in a self-watering situation or self-watering setup. So if you saw my short that came out, I guess about 3 weeks ago on this plant, one day I was just looking at it and I said, she's not looking good. She has some yellowing leaves and she stopped growing when this plant had always grown very well for me. And so I said, you know what, let me check the roots. See, this is why we have to pay attention to our plants, because a lot of times they give us signals that something's wrong, but we have to pay attention. And I know that that can be hard because we all live busy lives. We have a lot on our plates, but a lot of times they will give signs that something is wrong, just like our bodies do sometimes. So anyway, I said, let me look at the roots. So I pulled her out of the substrate, and sure enough, she had some root rot going on. It wasn't really bad, but it was bad enough, and I'm glad I caught it when I did. So I removed the roots, and I decided to put the plant in stratum. And as you can see, the roots are looking very nice. And she already is like, it's actually um, 4 plants in this pot. But if you can see, every last one of them has a new growth point already, which lets me know that sis is loving the stratum life. I have also had fungal issues with this plant. I don't know if it's because like you all know, I do wash off my plant leaves. Um, excuse me. But I make sure that they have adequate ventilation. You know, I have a ceiling fan and I have another fan over here to keep the air circulation going so that the leaves can dry. And it's good to have good air circulation for your plants, because if you don't, they can get fungal issues. So I have treated her twice with the Bonide fungicide powder. It's a sulfur powder that, of course, you mix up with water and you just spray on the leaves. So that's why her leaves look a little bit, I guess, kind of ashy, you know, like she needs some lotion. I've gotten most of it off, but you can still see it a little bit. So I have high hopes for this plant. Actually, and I'm surprised I'm about to say this because I can be a little bit reluctant when it comes to trying new things, especially when what I've been doing has worked. But so many of you have said that your alocasia actually just thrives in pond. I have never tried pond, but because of what happened with this plant, I want to try it. And so that's why I have all of my alocasia right now in stratum, thinking that the transition from stratum to pond may be a little less shocking that way. And so how I plan to do pond is I plan to do self-watering, a self-watering setup. I plan on mixing my pond with some chunky, coarse perlite just to add a little bit more aeration to the pond. And of course, I'm going to have the wick. So instead of having the reservoir or like having a no drainage setup, it will be self-watering so that the plant can wick up the water itself. And I also want to try those planters that everyone has been talking about. I can't remember what they're called. I want to say happy planters or something like that. I just happy roots or something like that. That's supposed to provide more aeration to your plant roots. So I do want to try some of those for my alocasia once I put them in pond. Okay, so black velvet. And look, y'all, she even has, can you see that little point right there coming up? I mean, she is just doing great in this stratum. Okay. So next up, I have a plant that has never been on my radar per se. It's a beautiful alocasia, and many of you have this one. I've seen some gorgeous, huge specimens of this plant, but the only reason why I got it is because the price has come down, and I got this one for a very reasonable price, and that is the variegated fried egg, um, which is the variegated version of the Mitsalitziana. I'm sure I probably tore that up, but that's the all green one. I did get this from BWH, and I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy with this specimen. And I got this plant, like I said, about a week ago, and already it has given me this new leaf. And I have all of these small alocasia. I have them on the top shelf underneath the grow light. So they are getting really good light because I want their roots to just get really strong and for the plant to really grow. So you can see these roots. Okay, that's my beautiful little fried egg, variegated fried egg. So another fun fact about alocasia is that they like for their soil to stay consistently moist. So for all of y'all underwaterers, if you want to see some crispy chicken leaves, don't water it or let it dry out. That's why when I had them, the ones that I had in soil, that's why I had them in self-watering so they could consistently stay moist because that is what alocasia like. Do not, I repeat, do not let them dry out. Okay. So next up is the alocasia poly. Now I got this particular beauty about almost 3 months ago. And she just gave me this leaf. There goes Phoebe girl. And then this is the newest leaf that's opening up. Shh. See those roots. Okay. So next up is my largest alocasia. This is the cuculata. 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 I love doing that with this plant. I love this plant. I just think that this plant is just gorgeous. But one thing I do not like about this plant is she is a spider mite magnet. And she gets offended when I say that, but she knows she is a spider mite magnet, which comes to something that y'all are just going to get sick of me saying. Wash your plants. If you can wash them off, please do it. Your plants will thank you, because alocasia, along with other genuses of plants, they are just like, for some reason, just attracted to alocasia. Spider mites are just like they have always been on this plant. Like, I have to constantly wash the leaves of this plant. I have to constantly treat it. Thankfully, because I try to stay up on my alocasia care because of the spider mite issue, I'm able to catch it before it gets out of hand, like before you see all the webbing and all of that. But there is, I do see a small amount of damage to some of the leaves. But I do have a neem oil solution mixed with water and like a drop of Dawn soap that I spray her down with when I see an active uh, infestation. And so, yeah, I have to really stay on top of this one when it comes to spider mites. She has a little, there's her little baby sister right there. And look at those roots. Okay, are y'all seeing those roots? Are y'all looking? Look at those roots. Like, why did y'all not tell me about stratum? I'm just kidding. That's actually why I decided to try it, because so many of you just like swear by it. So I have become a believer because I've tried it myself and I'm seeing the results. So this is the cuculata. Cuculata. Let me stop if I drop this plant. Okay, so last but not least, and many of you, if you are not new to my channel, you have seen this plant probably be about 3 or 4 times. This is my favorite alocasia, y'all. This is the chantrieri. I mean, look at her. Just look at her. Look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? I mean, really. She is a cross between the Cupria and the Sanderiana. And I just love her. She is just all of that in a bag of chips. She has never had spider mites, thank goodness, but I'm always rinsing her off, so I don't give them a chance to set in, even if they want to. And this is her, let's see, newest, wait a minute. Can y'all see that new leaf? Yeah, there it is right there. So she's working on a new leaf, and her roots are just looking fabulous. And I just recently took her out of the substrate she was in and put her in the stratum as well because I want to try her out in pond. So yes, this is my beautiful girl. And look at the backs of the leaves. I just love her. So another fact about alocasia is that they are poisonous, just like philodendrons. They are toxic to pets and humans. So you already know if you have pets or little kids that like to mess with your plants, you need to be very careful because they are toxic. Um, so if you can take anything away from this video is that, of course, as you can see, alocasia are gorgeous plants. I love alocasia. I think they are probably after aglaonema. They're my next favorite genus of plant. And but if you are a beginner, you do have to be very careful with alocasia because some of them can be more on the difficult side, especially when it comes to the spider mite issue as well as the keeping them consistently moist, and at the same time though making sure that their roots don't rot. So it's like a fine balance, but they are certainly worth it. If you're like me and you have some cost restraints, because I'm not going to spend a whole lot of money on plants because I don't have it and I don't need to. And I know I'm not the only one who ain't got no money. I know some of y'all broke too. I'm just kidding. But that's why I like to start off with starter plants. So if something happens, I won't suffer a big financial loss. So I hope you all enjoyed my alocasia collection. I finally did it. I've been talking about it, but I finally did it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know down in the comments what you liked. Do you like alocasia? Are you feeling them? Not really. Just, I would love to hear from you. Or if you have some favorites that you liked in my collection, I would love to hear some feedback. So, oh, and I also have an Instagram page now, so you can check me out on Instagram. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, like what? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, you're here. You hear Phoebe, she's even telling you that you need to subscribe to my channel. You need to like and subscribe. If you are already subscribed, hit that notification bell so you know when Chula puts out some new content, okay? So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Hooked on houseplants, y'all. Bye.